बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। मेरी उन तमाम दोस्तों से गुजारिश है कि जिन्होंने अभी तक हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है वो चैनल को ज़रूर सब्सक्राइब करें ताकि आने वाली तमाम वीडियोस आप तक पहुंच सके। थैंक यू।
Pakistan's checkered political history holds many lessons that need to be learnt if the country is to escape from its troubled past. Full stop. Some have been learnt, but several of the more consequential ones haven't. Full stop. These unlearned lessons have left the country deeply fractured and in a state of chronic political instability and economic weakness, lurching from one crisis to another. Full stop. There are at least five unlearned lessons that have been consequential to the country's fate and fortunes, although this is not an exhaustive list. Full stop. The first is intensely antagonistic politics that has involved bitter feuds and unremitting confrontations between political leaders and parties. Full stop. With the war paradigm guiding political conduct, opponents have been seen, not as competitors, but as enemies to be eliminated from the political scene in a terminal conflict. Full stop. This pattern of behavior is part of an unedifying tradition, characterized by intolerance and lack of respect for democratic norms. Full stop. New para, those in power rarely accepted the need to engage with the opposition, while those in opposition almost always tried to actively destabilize the government of the day. Full stop. These power struggles became fatal distractions from governance and meeting public needs. Full stop. What were essentially intra-elite squabbles over power and patronage, not policy, created the conditions for the military to intervene and return to the political stage. Full stop. The repeatedly ignored lesson was that compromise and consensus were essential to achieve civilian supremacy and strengthen democracy. Full stop. Also overlooked was the risk that endless power tussles would open a space for the military to ultimately seize control of the political system. Full stop. There were always political parties ready to encourage military interventions to remove their opponents. Full stop. The military, for its part, easily found political allies to oust civilian governments and aid its takeovers of power. Full stop. New para. This brings up unlearned lesson 2, relating to military interventions. Full stop. Pakistan has spent over 30 years of its existence under direct military rule and since 2018 under hybrid democracy, in which the military has had an expansive role in governance. Full stop. Despite widespread public respect for the military in its professional role, its political interventions have lacked public legitimacy, full stop. The lesson from long bouts of military rule is that these constitutional transgressions neither found public acceptance nor delivered what they promised: political stability and economic progress, full stop. Instead, they produced deleterious consequences for the country and undermined the military's reputation, full stop. That is why today the military acknowledges that military rule is neither an option nor a solution, full stop. New para, but a hybrid system is also problematic, full stop. The lesson of the hybrid experience, that further skewed the civil military balance and involved democratic regression, is that it is inherently unable to provide coherent and effective governance, full stop. It fragments the governance system, creates confusion about lines of authority, and also distracts the military from its professional role, especially when the security situation needs its undivided attention, full stop. The hybrid experiment of 2018 to 2022 hardly built economic or political stability, quite the opposite. In fact, full stop. Continuing this model will not yield an outcome different from the past, full stop. New para. The third lesson is that unless the country undertakes wide-ranging reforms to address its long-standing structural economic problems, it cannot escape from the trap of chronic fiscal deficits, balance of payments problems, high inflation and macroeconomic instability, which have necessitated repeated financial bailouts, full stop. The reliance on outsiders, friendly countries and IMF for bailouts has been a short-term fix, not a solution, full stop. For decades, dysfunctional economic management by both civilian and military governments evaded reform and resisted mobilizing adequate domestic resources, full stop. Instead, resort to excessive borrowing at home and abroad, mired Pakistan in unsustainable debt and perpetual financial crisis, full stop. The country's foreign alignments were frequently leveraged to secure financial help, often dubbed geopolitical rent, to overcome the crisis of the day, full stop. New para, no serious is Pakistan's economic crisis today that the lesson it offers can be ignored only at great peril to the country, full stop. The old way of managing public finances is no longer tenable, full stop. There is an urgent need to deal with the structural sources of persisting financial imbalances, a narrow and inequitable tax regime, limited export base, energy sector's circular debt, bankrupt public sector enterprises, heavy regulatory burden, and low savings and investment, full stop. The fourth lesson has to do with the failure to invest in human capital, full stop. This has left the country with deteriorating social indicators and at the bottom of global human development rankings, full stop. Underinvestment has meant 40% of Pakistanis are illiterate, 22 million school age children are out of school, poverty has risen to almost 40%, while health indicators, including malnutrition levels, remain grim, full stop. Pakistan cannot achieve economic growth and progress by failing to invest in its people, full stop. New para. Lesson 5 concerns how the state has dealt with religious extremism and militancy over the decades, full stop. Of course, violent extremism has had both internal and external drivers, full stop. General Ziaul Haq's Islamization policies in the 1980s dangerously divided society along religious and sectarian lines, full stop. His patronization of certain extremist groups, along with the fallout from the Afghan war, proved consequential, leading to the rise of militancy in the 1990s, full stop. State tolerance and leniency towards such groups emboldened them and heightened the threat to the country's security, full stop. Fast forward to 2007 and the takeover of Islamabad's Lal Masjid by militants, full stop. This was a turning point at a time when Pakistan was cooperating in the US-led war on terror in Afghanistan, full stop. Thereafter, assaulted militant groups declared war on Pakistan, including the Tehreek-e-Taliban, which was formed in that period, full stop. New para. Although Pakistan's security forces have since undertaken effective campaigns to defeat militancy, the need remains for a consistent and holistic strategy that doesn't just rely on kinetic actions, full stop. There is also a wider lesson from Pakistan's experience with extremism, full stop. Too often governments sought to appease extremists or waver when faced with agitation by religious zealots, full stop, succumbing to pressure to bring an end to the crisis of the day emboldened extremist forces, only for them to repeatedly rear their head to challenge the state, full stop. The lessons from these different aspects of Pakistan's experience should not be hard to learn and act upon, full stop. Doing that offers the best and perhaps only chance for the country to free itself from the dead hand of the past, full stop.